my name's Allie Borman, and I'm part of our Lightning Energy team here at Lightning eMotors. And today I'm going to walk you through our new Lightning Insights portal, a new look into fleet management, both for your Lightning EVs as well as your Lightning chargers. Today we're going to be going through all the new features of Lightning Insights. Some of you may be familiar with our Lightning Analytics portal. For current customers, this has been a great resource in order to see your current state of charge on all of your fleet vehicles. And going forward, we would like to leverage the extensive amount of data that our vehicles collect, as well as our charging infrastructure, and provide that to you in an actionable format in order to allow fleet managers to manage their fleets efficiently and leverage all of the additional data that you get from using an EV as opposed to your typical ICE vehicle. So today we're going to be going through a demo account, so some of this may be a bit different than what you see when you first log into Lightning Insights, but hopefully this will give you a good overview of all of the features with our upgraded portal. If when you purchase a Lightning EV, you decide to subscribe to the Lightning Insights app, you will receive an email from Lightning eMotors giving you access to this portal. So once you get the link via your email, you will come to this home page. So we are going to put in the name as well as email address. And a phone number. So now we're going to select our preferred units, going into Imperial and agreeing to the terms and conditions. So now we will be hopping into the billing section of setting up your account. Here will be a one-time entry of your billing information, which will be used anytime that a vehicle subscription or charger subscription is up for renewal. This is a one-time entry, and the renewal will be automatic upon completion of your subscription period. Since this is a demo account, I'm not going to walk through this section, but here is where you would enter your card number or U.S. bank account information. This is what it looks like if you were to put in your U.S. bank account. So I'm going to continue on into our portal. So now we've landed on our dashboard page. This is going to be the main place where you can see all fleet general metrics, both in regards to charging and in regards to your EVs. So right here we've got fleet summary information as well as vehicle summary information, including your number of vehicles, your number of depots, number of chargers. It will also show the total number of miles driven and fleet efficiency across all of your Lightning EVs. The time periods this is driven by are denoted up here in the top right. So you can see you can either select today, by week, by month, or for the last quarter. Then if we go section by section, you're also able to see your vehicle summary. So I can go through and take a peek at all of our vehicles and how many miles they've driven within this designated time period, as well as the kilowatt hours used, efficiency, and other metrics that are helpful in seeing your fleet's performance over the last designated time period. If I go down here into the charging metrics section of the dashboard, we can also see charging summaries. A couple of these metrics are going to be current, so charger status is helpful for when you are planning current or shortly upcoming charging sessions. I'm able to go in here and see that we have 6 available chargers on site here at Lightning, ready for our Lightning EVs to come up and charge. The charging summary will also give you a similar look as the vehicle summary into the charging sessions that have occurred over the designated period of time, so in this case a week. So we can see that 137 sessions have occurred over the course of the week. Here you can also see how many RFIDs have been authorized, and this gives you a bit deeper of a look into how many drivers you may have across multiple fleets or across multiple locations. Down here, an additional feature that we have on our dashboard currently is a fleet efficiency box and whisker plot. So you can see across the entirety of your fleet where you're landing efficiency-wise. So in looking at fleet efficiency, you can typically expect with Lightning vehicles to see numbers around this median and quartile 3. So we have vehicles out in the field right now that are performing at a maximum of 2 miles per kilowatt hour within the last week. You can typically see within your Lightning EVs an efficiency around 1.5, as is outlined in this chart. One other helpful metric that you can see within the dashboard is your fleet-wide power usage. So here, one thing that's super important and helpful in your dashboard is you can rearrange, resize, change the number of tiles that you have present on the screen to make it easiest for your day-to-day use. So when you come into this dashboard, it will save whatever configuration was last used, so that each time you're logging in, you can see the most important information to you and your fleet when you first log in. If I go down here into the fleet-wide power utilization, I can select from these variable time periods to see our fleet-wide power utilization for the depots on this account. So apart from your time designation up in the top right for other vehicle metrics, for fleet-wide power utilization, you're able to select from 1 hour, 6 hours, 12 hours, 1 day, and 3 days in order to see your power curves throughout that time. Within the dashboard, you're also able to select particular filters and specific tiles you would like to see. In here, if you have sub-customers, if you're leasing out your vehicles, you're able to select by customer or sub-fleet, as well as specific depots in order to customize what you're seeing on the dashboard and narrow in on whatever metrics you're looking for specific to those sectors. Within Actions, you're also able to manage your tiles. So at the same time that I can come in here and resize and change order around, I can drag this down if I'd like, move things around to my liking. I'm also able to manage which tiles are appearing. So right now we have all of them selected so that we're able to see all metrics. However, if I wanted to select all fleet but remove charging summaries and power utilization, I can clear this out and just see metrics on my vehicles. Now we're going to move on to the vehicles section of the portal. So here we land on a map view. This is helpful for being able to locate where your fleets are at, whether they're congregated in one area or spread across the US, as we see here with our demo fleet. Within the map view, you're able to see location pins that denote where your vehicle is, as well as its SOC, otherwise known as state of charge. As an alternative to looking at our map view here, you can also see your vehicles in a list format, which is sortable by any of the metrics up here on this top bar. Depending on the way that you manage your fleet, you can organize by state of charge, vehicle name, whatever you prefer. Here we can see important data such as the status of the vehicle as it currently stands. So we can see these top 3 vehicles are charging. It'll also have this green lightning bolt as a symbol of that status. We can see additional information and metadata in here such as the year, the OEM, the model, and your VIN, as well as important metrics such as remaining range. This is important, especially when looking at some of those lower state of charge vehicles, what your estimated remaining range is for the duration of your day and for the duration of your estimated route distance. These metrics will vary pretty substantially depending on the configuration and the model of your vehicle. I'm also able to, up at the top here, filter by specific fleet if you have multiple fleets or multiple locations. So now that I'm on the map view, I'm able to look at specific vehicles a few different ways. One way of doing it is pressing this arrow over here on the left. Another way you can do it is to click on a specific vehicle. So if I wanted to see this vehicle here, I'm able to click on the pin and it will bring me to the specific vehicle view. This page will provide you with more in-depth data and metadata on your specific Lightning EV. So if I wanted to look into this specific vehicle, and its metrics from single days as opposed to the dashboard view, which is multiple vehicles over multiple days. I can come into this view. So the first thing we see when we hop into the specific vehicle view is the vehicle overview. This is going to include basic metadata about your Lightning EV, as well as important metrics in regards to the lifetime of your vehicle, including things like your odometer reading, your overall key on hours, as well as your driving hours. This also has total energy usage, lifetime regen, and your net energy use. We can see right here that the lifetime regen on this vehicle is 944 kilowatt hours. Typically, if using regen to its highest potential, you can redeem up to 30% of your energy usage back into your Lightning EV, which will increase your efficiency across the fleet. Over here on the right, we can see a map of estimated serviceable area for your current conditions. So this takes into account your EV's current SOC, and the border drawn here is the farthest estimated distance your vehicle is able to go one direction. As you can see, we can see metrics like distance, kilowatt hours used, and efficiency for the date designated. I'm also able to go back to a previous day and see the drive cycle from that day as well. So we can see the graphs, the map, everything updating to reflect the data from the selected day. So if we pop in here, we can see from day to day a comparison of the driving behavior. So one great thing we can see here is on this day, on 8/3, the driver had an efficiency of 2.1. This is great data for a fleet manager to look at because they can look into both the route they were running as well as SOC over time in comparison to speed. And as I mentioned before, that's the state of charge. So you can see, depending on the driving behavior, also denoted by the energy usage graph down here, that majority of the energy that was being used was going towards the motor. When this is the case, the efficiency tends to be in this higher range. This kind of information allows for a fleet manager then to look into specific driving behaviors that increase their efficiency and trickle this information down to drivers across the fleet and to improve their overall day-to-day activity. One thing we can also see down here is the route time distribution. So of the time that the vehicle was keyed on, we can see that 54% of the time it was on, it was in idle, as opposed to 45.8% of the time it was driving. If I hover over here, it shows that in number of hours. So it was driving for 2.159 hours throughout this day. So over here on the right, we can see the speed and SOC graph. This is used in particular to identify what speeds are ideal for maximum performance in your Lightning EV. So we can see in the green, the speed. So over time, higher speeds typically lead to a faster drop in SOC. So over the course of a 24-hour period, if they were running for more than the 2 hours that this drive cycle included, you would be able to see the small blippets here. When they're going at low speeds, the drop in SOC is pretty minimal, as opposed to some of these higher speeds causing a faster drop in SOC. Another thing that this graph can help to identify is the charging behavior of your vehicle. So we can see here as the actual SOC is rising, that's due to a charge session. So you can see if your driver started off their day at 100% and can compare that against their driving behavior throughout the day. And it looks like by the end of this driver's day, their actual SOC was still around 60%. So they accomplished everything they needed to accomplish within the day without pushing the limits of their range. What we can also see over here on the left is the drive route for the day. So starting in green and ending in red, we can see the entire duration of their drive and see where the driver went throughout the day. Down here at the bottom with the energy usage pie chart, we can see that the motor use for the day was 80.2% of the total energy used. That's part of what contributes to that high efficiency. But one thing that a fleet manager or a driver can identify with their Lightning Insights portal is other components or other subsystems within the vehicle that are requiring large energy draw. For example, HVAC is one of the highest energy draw systems. So if we were to see a larger section of this graph that was dedicated to the HVAC system, then we may see a lower efficiency. The same goes for battery thermal management as well as the DC-DC converter for any auxiliary systems. So if we go back up, this is all the daily reporting data. We can also see upcoming activity, which is used if you are planning or scheduling vehicles in advance for specific routes or specific activities. Since this is a demo account, we don't have any upcoming activity planned for this specific vehicle. Within the vehicle metadata section, you're able to see more about your Lightning EV and this specific vehicle, including the model year, the VIN, the vehicle name, the make, and the model. We can also go over into the subscription status bar, which is going to show you for this specific vehicle where you are at in your subscription term, as well as what level of subscription you have. We have all access as well as API only available for all of our Lightning customers. So now moving on to the routes and schedule section of the portal. So this section of the portal is for fleet managers who want to schedule out specific routes ahead of time and designate particular vehicles to a certain loop. So this will allow you to add new routes and specify which vehicles you intend to run those routes based on the metrics you're seeing from your specific vehicle efficiency. Once you've established multiple routes, you'll be able to click on Edit and designate specific routes for use in this list. Moving on to the scheduling section of the portal, this also ties in with the routes and also ties in with your charging infrastructure and charging planning. So here you'll be able to see all of the planned activity between routes and charging sessions for each vehicle. Again, because this is a demo account, we don't have any of those specific activities scheduled as of right now, but you can see all of them in one easy view on this page. It's also important to see over time if you have your regularly scheduled activities. If everyone is arriving on time, that means that your schedule is currently optimized for your operations. Hopping now down into the energy section of your new Lightning Insights portal, the first view we see is our depots. So this will designate similar to the vehicles we're able to see on this map view where our multiple depots are located at. Seeing where your depots are located in the map view can help align with the vehicle view which vehicles are designated to which depots and how far they are away from home when reaching low SOC. So I can look at these both in the map view as well as the list view, similar to the way the vehicle view is structured. Also similar to the vehicle map view, if I select one of these tabs, it will pop into the specific depot view. Up here we can see stats such as the site status, which includes the active utilization. You can see here, similar to our dashboard view, we're also able to see that power usage over time. And this is specific to this depot as opposed to having multiple depots as it showed on the dashboard. I can change the configuration of this depot, including a specific geofence if I were to want that. You can also set power ceilings here if your site has a specific limit on how much energy you're able to use. Here you can also see any planned activity for this specific depot. So today's plan, as I said earlier, because this is a demo account, we don't have any events planned for today, but if we were to have any, it would populate here on the left. As for site status, we can see that 2 of the chargers on here are currently connected to the portal, and if there were any live activity, that would be showing over here on the left. Down here at the bottom, we can also see upcoming charging sessions if they are scheduled for our specific chargers. If I hop over here into the completed view, this shows a full log of all chargers here on site and their energy dispensed. I can click into a specific detail view for a specific charger and see for that charging event what the charging curves look like, both on the vehicle as well as on the charger. So here we can see the current import, power active import, energy active import, and SOC percentage. This will give you a good idea for the specific charging infrastructure that you have on site, what it's able to do in pair with your Lightning EV. Another important piece of information that you can gather from this view is the started and completed times here down at the bottom. These kinds of metrics for specific vehicle tags are required for submission when participating in programs such as LCFS. If I hop over here into the specific charger view, I'm also able to see within a depot a specific charger, and I can see how this particular charger has performed over time. So here I can see in the charger overview, there's 0 kilowatts of live power, and there are no dispensers in usage currently, but there are also no live faults. Over here in the charger profile, I'm able to add additional information as well as set caps for this specific charger. This allows the user to avoid TOU rates, which is time of use rates, at peak charge times. Here I can also set specific time periods where we may want to cap our chargers to a lower power output in order to avoid some of those demand charge rates. We're able to set these limits on the chargers, but we're also able to set these limits on the connectors themselves. So if you do have a charger that has multiple connectors, you can also go down to the connector level and set the same metrics here. I can see right here that connector number 1 is in a finishing status, so it is still attached to a vehicle but has completed its charge session. Down here at the bottom, similar to the depot page, we can also see the full log of this particular charger's sessions. So again, we can click into here and see from this session what the session details are. We can also go down here and see any faults that it presented. So over time, if there were any faults active currently or that had been activated in the past, they would show up in a list here. Additional features on this page include the ability to reboot your charger up here on the right, as well as to set additional configurations on your charger if you were to change the designated name or had a need to change the charger ID. Now, if we continue on to the specific charger view, this brings up the dashboard similar to the top page, but it gives you a charger-specific view of what your current charger statuses are. So up here, we can see our pie chart, including there are now 6 available chargers here on site. There is one that is in finishing, the one we just looked at. There's also one that is currently unavailable. Over here on the right, you can also see your 24-hour charging summary. And down here at the bottom, you can see real-time charger details for each of your available chargers, including the last heartbeat, so the last time that it had checked in. A lot of these down here are test units, so they haven't checked in a while, but we can see down here with our DC charger that has been in use today that it is live as of August 5th. Up here at the top, you're able to search any of your Lightning assets specifically to go directly to either the vehicle or the specific charger page. Up here in the right, you're also able to take a peek at your Lightning Insights account and manage all of the details of your account. So if you were to change your profile name, specific email address, phone number, things like that, that will all be accessible here in the account view. You can also change your preferred units and also add RFIDs. RFIDs are typically required for those who operate in non-behind-the-fence environments, so RFIDs will allow you to manage which specific drivers, users, etc. are able to access your charging infrastructure. Down below, we'll also have things like company details. You can also here manage your users. So a fleet manager can come, log in, add additional users. So right here we have a combination of drivers, fleet operators, admin accounts, all of which are editable from your account. An additional aspect to your new Lightning Insights portal is access to our API in order to integrate with any other software that you may be currently using to manage your fleet. This can include integrations with other folks such as Geotab, Zonar, and Samsara, but is not limited to these companies. Hopefully today's demo gave you a good look into the new Lightning Insights portal and all that it can offer you and your Lightning EV fleet. Have a good rest of your day, and please reach out with any questions. Thanks for watching.